Selamat welcome in another episode of Flesh and News. This week is Calling Manila week, and with Calling Manila, we got a bunch of Rosetta spoilers. So we're gonna discuss that and a bunch of spoilers that we have not covered before. So you may have seen them float around in the Discord channels, on X, or discussed in your local WhatsApp chat. But I'm gonna do a deep dive since I'm gonna discuss all the cards that have been spoiled, but I did not discuss at the last week's Flesh and News. So let's get right into it. First of all is the buyer box promos. We finally figured out what sigils are. So we've been hinted at about sigils by Oscilio's weapon, Volzar, which mentions that it costs one less if you have a sigil in play. So we assume that sigils were going to be auras, but at this point in time, before these spoilers, the only sigil we had was the lousy generic sigil that prevented damage, and for sure you wouldn't be running that in an explosive combo-y big damage wizard. So we finally got the sigils from the Rosetta set. There are a set of 8 sigils that have been spoiled as the buy a box promos. So they have a semi-extended art, which is really neat, and they focus more on the sigils. The normal card versions have also been spoiled, and these sigils are usually placed on top of or being a part of something, while in the buyer box promos, the art is just the sigil really popping off right there with a really aesthetic background. So we have 8 sigils. The breakdown is as follows: 1 for Earth, 1 for Lightning, and 2 for each of Runeblade, Wizard, and Generic. Let's go over the one-offs first. Both the sigil for Earth and Lightning, as Sigil of Sanctuary and Sigil of Conductivity, both have Arcane Shelter 1, which is a new keyword. Arcane Shelter 1 is basically like Ward, but only for Arcane. So it's Arcane Shelter X, you prevent the next X arcane damage that would be dealt to you. So compared to Ward, it only prevents arcane damage, and compared to Spell Void is a replacement effect that you get to choose when you want to activate it. Arcane Shelter, you're forced to use it on the first instance that would be hit, that would deal damage to you. But if you want to keep it around, you can still pay into Arcane Barrier. For example, if you're hit by 3 arcane damage and you have AB3, you can AB3 the whole thing and you can keep your Arcane Shelter stuff. So this is really interesting, and they all sigils so far have the effect of when they leave the arena, you get something. And for the Earth and Lightning ones, they create their respective embodiments. The interesting thing about this is you can use it to discount Volzar staff indefinitely, for the rest of the game, against decks that don't do a single point of arcane damage. For example, Guardians or Warrior, you can just plop 1 Sigil of Conductivity down and your Volzar is free for the rest of the game. You're guaranteed to be able to keep it unless they're running Aura Destroyers, which are, I'm not sure if they even have those. I mean, there is one, the towering thingamabob from the TCC for Guardian, not sure for Warriors. But yeah, that's for the elemental sigils. Next, I'm going to talk about the generic sigils first, since all the heroes can use this. We have Sigil of Cycles, which is one of the most exciting ones for me. This one, compared to these 2 sigils, compared to the other 2, has Go Again. So it's not just an aura you plop down, that's the end of your turn. You play this, your turn continues. It has Go Again, so that's the big upside. And it destroys itself at the beginning of your next action phase. So beginning of your action phase. So you plop it down, and then on your next turn, it just destroys itself, and all the Sigils effects are when it leaves. And this one, the Sigil of Cycles, is when it leaves, it's you draw a card and then you discard a card, which is really cool filtering. And some heroes, Kasai, could actually utilize this. This could be just like sometimes she might have a hard time utilizing all her hand. Well, if you have this as one of the cards, you can utilize it better, and it makes all your swords free for the next turn. It helps you filter, which is overall great. But the sad thing is, these block for 2. Oh yeah, the Sigil of the elemental ones, they are instants with 0 block. Null block, not 0. Okay, next one is Sigil of Fiendal. Same with Cycles, it destroys itself at the beginning of your action phase, and then you heal 1. I feel like this one's a bit on the weak side, might be a little bit for more limited play, because if you're spending 1 card just to heal 1, it's kind of bad, unless you have a way, like, yeah, if you have cards that like benefit of an aura you control is destroyed this turn, it gets an extra effect, or if you've played a Sigil this turn, you get an extra effect, then maybe you might want to run this, like, I don't know, maybe Verdance, that could get an extra point of value from the life gain, but even then it's only like a 2-point card, so not very excited for a Sigil of Fiendal. Next up is we have the Runeblade ones. There's 2. First is Sigil of Dreadwood or Deadwood. Sigil of Deadwood. Same, it's an action with Go Again, and same, it destroys itself at the beginning of your action phase, and then this one just creates a rune chant. And same with the other sigils that are not instants, it has 2 block. This one might see play in Vincent. I'm not sure, but it's kind of interesting because it satisfies the Runeblade thing that you want to do is a non-attack action with Go Again, and then generating the rune chant is useful for chaining turns together, because Vincent really stumbles hard when you like play, you have 3 rune chants, you attack with something, and then probably give it Go Again, and then you swing weapon, and then the weapon doesn't hit, you don't have enough rune chants for your next turn, you draw like a 3-cost rune gate, you only have 2 rune chants, and then yeah, like you just stumble, you either have to hard cast the card, which still resets your rune chant, so you're back in the same position for next turn. So just having more cards that generate rune chants that I don't know, might be something that you want. I'm not a Runeblade main, so I'm not sure. Next up is Sigil of the Arknight. Same, it destroys itself at the beginning of your action phase, and then you reveal the top of your deck. If it's an attack, you banish it, and then you can play it. So this one's kind of a gamble. It's like a setup card where you're able to, if you can get this to hit most of the time, maybe it's something you want to do. And again, it's a Runeblade action, a non-attack action with Go Again, so it satisfies the Runeblade thing that you want to do. And if you can get it to hit, it just replaces itself. But it allows you to like have a bigger turn if you're able to play like 2 Sigils of the Arknight and then arsenal a card, and on your next turn, if both of the sigils hit, you have a 7-card hand, which is I feel like Runeblade's damage and ninja damage just goes up, like not linearly but exponentially with the more cards you have, since there's a lot of like synergies to be had and cards playing off of each other, making each other stronger. So having more cards, being able to set up for a bigger turn, might be useful, like in Viserai or other rune blades. That's it for the rune blades, and last but not least is the wizard, my favorite class. Although I'm currently a ninja main and I do not own a wizard deck at the moment, but wizard is and always will be my favorite class. First one, let's go for the weaker one first. It's Sigil of Forethought. It's an instant, so null block, and it destroys itself at the beginning of your action phase, and it creates a ponder token. So, not sure how good this will be. I mean, it's a blue pitch and it has null block. Well, every sigil in the Biobox promo has blue pitch, and I don't think these will be in a cycle because a lot of the effects are very like specific and you can't scale them. The only ones that can like realistically scale is Sigil of Deadwood and Fiendal, but that wouldn't make sense for the other 6. So pretty sure we're just gonna have this in blue and not any other color, but just Sigil of Forethought replacing itself with a ponder, which means replacing itself with a random card later. Like you play this, and then on your next turn, you get a ponder, and then the ponder you draw at the end of your turn to maybe put in your arsenal. So that's like not sure how good that will be. But the other one though, the Sigil of Temporal Manipulation, that's where this juicy is at. It's also an instant, and it allows you to basically do Kano. You Kano ability. Look at the top of your deck. If it's a non-attack action, you may banish it, and then you may play it this turn. So again, this is in a similar vein to Sigil of the Arknight. It allows you to do a setup turn, basically. So based on that turn, you have a very low value, but it allows you to have access to more cards during your like big pop-off turn, which for wizards is great. And not only you may play the non-attack action that you banished, you may play it as an instant. So like literally just Kano hero ability on a card. And it's a blue pitch. So oh yeah, and all the sigils, spoiler so far, is 0 cost. So pretty good. I like the art very much. I like some of the sigils. I feel like they might see play in CC, especially the cycles and manipulations and maybe Arknight one. But for the other ones, I'm not really sure if they're anything more than draft chaff or limited fodder. Next up is another sigil. So this one's not covered in the Biobox promo since the sigil is a bit of different because it's an Oscilio specialization. So we finally have our Oscilio's spec, and at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. When this leaves the arena, draw a card. That's it. You don't have to discard a card. This is just straight up better cycle, better than Sigil of the cycling one. But it has yellow pitch compared to the blue pitch of Sigil of Cycles, and this one's an instant instead of a go again non-attack action. We still haven't had spoiled to us what like the payoff is for drawing cards, because we already have the draw card from the ability, we have the draw card from the Sigil of Cycles, and we have the Volzar that like, okay, it's only discounted by the sigils, but the payoff is like you play a bunch of lightning, you amp a lot, but it still hasn't been spoiled what you want to do, like how that will scale. This just is another like draw card piece, which is just like more hero ability or more drawing a card. So a lot of people are speculating on Brainstorm. The price has increased from like half a dollar to like $3 now, so like 6x. So congratulations for those of you Brainstorm hoarders. Now you can like go off and retire early. Very interesting, but still no pointers on what Oscilio will do. Hopefully that will get spoiled sometime soon. And next is not from Rosetta, it's actually a reprint, but it's the Deathmatch Arena prize. So maybe a lot of you weren't around when this happened, but basically in the heavy hitters, there was a thing called Deathmatch Arena, where all 6 heroes in the heavy hitters format were pitted against each other at limited events, rated limited events. So during the time, each win will be recorded to the corresponding hero, and the hero will, with the most wins, will get a special card printed with that hero art and then sent to all the people who won with that hero at a rated event during the heavy hitter season. So it was quite close, but Kasai was the number one, with I believe Betsy at second place. So yeah, we got a Command and Conquer with a really gorgeous Kasai art and a bunch of lore. So you get to see the lore about the like golden sands and like a little bit of more background to where Kasai is from, what she's doing, and the art is just gorgeous. And this Command and Conquer is rarer than the Command and Conquer Marvel edition that you can find in the Dynasty packs, since there's only 58 of them in the entire world. So congratulations to all of you who got these cards. You can like use them and flex a lot, or if you're poor like me, you're probably gonna sell it for thousands of dollars. So that's really, really cool. I hope we get to see a Command and Conquer reprint that's actually impactful to the price, because this Command and Conquer reprint will do nothing for the secondary market of Command and Conquers that are most usually played. Like, give us like a yellow, red, or whatever border of CNC and make it uglier. Just reprint us a CNC that we can use. Okay, continuing on. Enough of the rant. Is Armory promos. They spoiled the Armory promo for the upcoming month in September. It's lightning themed, so we're going to have Aurora themed stuff, but instead of looking at the entire thing, I'm gonna focus at the cards that have not been revealed yet, which are two. First one is the other meld card, because we know each hero will get 2 meld cards. We already got the first one for Aurora, which is Burn Up Shock, which is really, really hot. It's basically a 0 for 5 if you can get it to hit. This one, though, is less of a powerhouse and more of a sideboard piece, I feel like. So it's called Vaporize Shock. It's a Runeblade instant / lightning instant, so they're both instants, hence the null block, compared to Burn Up Shock, which is an action on Burn Up side, and Shock, which is an instant, which lends it to have a block. Vaporize is targeted to dealing with aura permanents. It needs to do arcane damage first, because it only kills aura with cost X or less and up to X aura tokens. So you can deal with multiple stuff at once, but that requires you to do arcane damage, because X is the total arcane damage that you've dealt to opposing heroes this turn. Interesting interaction in UPF. So I don't talk about this format very often. It's basically the EDH or multiplayer format of Flesh and Blood. But since it doesn't specify that it needs to be damage that you've dealt to that specific hero, it's just dealt to all opposing heroes. You can do arcane damage, like a lot of arcane damage to one guy, and then you vaporize another guy's board full of auras and aura tokens. That's a neat little interaction that like might not see or get highlighted a lot. But yeah, I feel like since this is a yellow pitch, not a blue pitch, and it's very specific on aura hate, it might be more of a sideboard player. Well, auras are actually pretty good. You're gonna see a lot of aura tokens like embodiments of lightning, embodiments of earth, rune chants, and whatnot. And sigils are aura permanents, and the embodiments are aura tokens. So this might see a lot more play if the Rosetta format itself lends it to be very important and very impactful to the meta. Next up is we have Electrostatic Discharge, which is a lightning instant, so null block. And this one's the red version, a 0 cost. The next attack card you play this turn, attack action card, so this one doesn't buff your weapon, so no Starfall shenanigans, and it says the next, so this doesn't play out like Lightning Press, so you can't like attack and then Electrostatic to buff that attack that's already attacking. It only buffs the next attack, but this plays well with the one card, the Lightning Flow one, that gets go again if you play the lightning card. So since it's a 3 attack, you might not want to buff that attack particularly, but you still want the lightning card to be played to give it go again. So you can play it for the 3, doesn't have go again yet, and then during, I don't know, the resolution step before it checks for the go again, you play this so it gets the go again, and then you, at the end of resolution step, you get your action point back, and then your next attack, which is probably a breakpoint, gets buffed. We already have Weave Lightning and Sizzle, so I'm not really sure how much play this will be seeing. And it's an instant non-block, but if Rune Blades really rise up this meta and Warmongers is an issue, this being an instant and plays around that. And this also plays around Red in the Ledger, so compared to like Weave Lightning attack, you can't do that under Riddle. With this, you can. And this one doesn't specify elemental or lightning attack, so you can buff your snatch or e-strikes with this. So a lot of your like +3 buffs each have their own merits, but having multiple of them means you can like pick and choose depending on the meta, which like I would say 2, you would only like use 2 playsets in a deck. You don't want to clunk up your Aurora deck with too many non-attacks. Okay, next up is the thing that we got at Calling Manila. So like just today, when at the time of this video's recording, is the day of Calling Manila. The day 1 has concluded. It's the dawn of day 2, but they spoil this card, which is a buff for Sword Warriors. So this is better Sharpened Steel. Sharpened Steel at red is sword attack +3 or weapon attack +3. This one's specific for swords, but it also has, when this attacks, if it's power is greater than twice its base. So greater than twice its base, it gets go again. So with Dawnblade with no counters and no other buffs, the Dawnblade will not have go again since its base is 3 and double its base is 6. Unsheath will buff it to 6. So 6 is not greater than 6. 6 is equal to. So you need to have an extra buff if you want to use this with Dawnblade. But since it like has Kasai in the art, and the sandy thingamabob works really well with Kasai since her Centauri Sabers and the, well, not Hot Streak, because Hot Streak you usually really easy to get go again. Your Centauri Sabers have 2 base power, so this will just make it a 5 go again weapon, which is really neat. Hopefully this propels Kasai into some viability in the current meta, because currently, after winning a Pro Tour, and not a Pro Tour, after winning Calling, it's odd just to see her like disappear completely off the map ever since Part the Misveil came out. So yeah, hopefully this pushes warriors into the forefront, especially sword warriors, because this doesn't work with axes like hatchets or other warrior weapons. I'm not sure what other types. Oh, axes. So yeah, cool. Next is the card that has been promised to us by our Lord and Savior Gottlieb, which is the card that will save Katsu from the bondsman. But I feel like it's not that, because it's whatever this is. It's Gustwave of the Second Wind. It's a 0/4 block 3 combo. That's similar. That's Fluster Fist. We have a majestic Fluster Fist. And the combo is, instead of being before, what is it called, open the center, this one is after a Surging Strike. If it's after a Surging Strike, this gets go again. That's it. So I feel like this was meant to be played like with more bonds, not less, because bonds plays with all the Gust Waves. Meanwhile, the other combo cards don't, like Mugenshi Release can only be paired with Whelming Gust Wave. Well, while this is Underwhelming Gust Wave. So yeah, not the best. It deals less damage when you compare it to Descendant Gust Wave, which is a 0/5 when comboed. And this doesn't have an on hit compared to Whelming Gust Wave when it's turned on by combo. So it has a lower ceiling overall compared to those two. But it does have a higher floor. It has a higher defense than Descendant Gust Wave. It's a 3 block instead of a 2 block, and it has the 4th point of power, regardless of whether it's comboed or not, unlike Whelming Gust Wave. So this will definitely make improve the Katsu deck, but it's not like the saving grace or the the glue that will hold whatever Katsu shambles at this point is, because we lost 6 bonds and we got another 3 copies of cards that work well with bonds. So when they said they're gonna print a card that's gonna help him dishonor, I mean, having more Gust Waves does that, but losing the bonds, I feel like you needed, if you want to dishonor more, you needed the card to replace the bonds, right? So I was thinking more in the realm of cards that can change the card names, or like a card that, like, when this attacks, or well, this is on the combat chain, treat this as if it had the name Bonds of Ancestry, or like name a card. This has the chosen card's name, like, or something along those lines, which, like, the second option would like be really neat because it would help you like play more niche combo lines, but and would actually help you playing Dishonor because you can play like Surging, Descendant, that thing, and then you name Bonds of Ancestry, which you only have 3 copies left, so you have an extra like 3 copies, so you have like six bonds, 3 of which are not like, it wouldn't have the bonds effect. It just has like the renaming thing. Maybe it costed it would cost resources and would be underrate, like for example like a 1 cost like 2 power attack at like yellow, but it would help you like play out your combo lines better. But I think that type of card would be like too powerful because it just allows you to play with any combo card and would be an auto include in any combo centric deck going forward. But I'm going off topic here, but yeah, I was just really hoping for something that would stand in the place of Bonds of Ancestry and not something that would work well with it while we have less of it. But yeah, this is just better Flusterfist. So Katsu's gonna run it. It's gonna up your combo density. I'm not sure what you're gonna cut for it right now because I haven't touched Katsu in a while. Ever since I've been playing Zen, it's been really fun. I haven't looked at Katsu since, but yeah, this is an upgrade. But a lot of the Katsu community at the Discord channel just said this is not what we hoped for. This is not like the saving grace for Katsu that we felt like was promised to us. So yeah, hopefully they can address that going forward. Maybe in the next set they're gonna print another expansion slot card that also works with all the Gust Waves. That's not on Bond's nutty power level, so it would be more realistic. And since it's a Majestic and add an expansion slot card, you only have a 3 of that effect. So yeah, hopefully we see something like that going forward, because for this set I think this is all we're getting. So for those of you who are still on your copium supply and like, oh, but there's still one more slot right before the Gust Wave at like rows 244, that because this is at number 245. Number 244 hasn't been spoiled yet. It might yet still be another ninja card. Yeah, there's no way. They usually allocate only like 1 slot for like 1 archetype or like a set of cards. For example, the Evos, obviously you need like 4 slots for that, because 1 for each of the equipment slots, but that's the exception other than the norm, because usually you just get like, okay, Leviah, the Shadow Brutes get 1 card, normal Brutes get 1 card, and Draconic, specifically Dromai, gets 1 card. So you're not gonna see like a hero get multiple cards that are like not in the same package like Evo is. So my heart goes out to you, Christian Hart, and Pudding Tam. I know both of you are really like sad right now, but trust that Rosetta will shake up the meta and maybe Katsu will be super relevant again with the addition of this underwhelming Gust Wave. Wow, that was a lot. We covered the Aurora stuff, Oscilio, Spec, and Command and Conquer. buy box promos. Yeah, that's a lot of things. Hopefully we do still get a bunch of more spoilers heading into the thingy in Tampa Bay where they're gonna like crack open boxes and like reveal the rest of the cards. Because I'm really excited for Rosetta. I'm gonna be playing Aurora a lot because I need to line up my next hero because Zen is just speed running the hell out of his LL points, and probably there is a chance that we're going to not see him at Worlds because we have an ProQuest season at October, which is 1 month before Worlds, and there is enough LL points from all the events if he wins enough of it that he will a living legend. So hopefully that doesn't happen because like I kind of want to play him at calling KL because I'm like really confident with my skills right now and with how broken Zen is. Like I'm pretty sure I can take down an event. So yeah, that's it for this week's Flesh and News. Catch you again next week for more Flesh and Blood content. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below if you have opinions on all the cards that were spoiled within this week. That's it for today's video. Sampai goodbye.